Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is Future Man, Season 2, Episode 8, The Last Horchata. The Temptation of the Last Horchata? No, it's just The Last Horchata. That's all it is. And for those of you kids at home that don't know what the hell a horchata is a drink that is think of it like a rice pudding, but only in drink form. So it's made of rice and cinnamon. Really damn good, especially when you have some spicy food. It helps you cool off your mouth there when you have some spicy food. And it's just good on a hot day as well. So I have a lot of those. There's it's kind of hard to find one when they make them by scratch. Usually they do it out of a machine now. So down here, yes, there is a sesame seed horchata, and that's just nasty. So yeah. You need to cool off your mouth. I'm not going to even touch that Mufinobi. Excuse me. So we'll get right to it. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you haven't gone and seen it, go and watch the episode. And, you have a 30-day free trial on Hulu if you still are on the fence about this series. You can go and watch it. Come on back here. This will be a video, and you can comment down below in the comments section. So, where were we? Well, where we left off was that Wolf found out that Tiger was a biotic and has pretty much dumped her, and he's gone off to go and do his own thing in the nag. We have 1 day left until everyone's going to Mars, and Josh is astray in Wolf Torque's house with his cluster, and he's chained up outside. And it's all gone to shit. Oh, and the TTD device has been destroyed. Yeah, Jerry went and fucked that up by hooking up some plutonium to it and blew it all up, including herself, except for her head. So, and yes, there is brain sex in this episode too. So kind of, it's just weird ganglia sex, I guess you could say. So TTD is a shitty name. No, it's not. So we end up opening up with Josh working on the robot dog. He's trying to get the dog to work, and he's got his muzzle on. And he actually has worked the muzzle off. Excuse me. And Wolf comes out to feed him. And Josh reminds Wolf that the launch is happening tomorrow, and they need to get this shit done now. And Wolf says, hold on just a moment. And he grabs the muzzle, puts it back on him. And Josh is like, hey, that's going to be pretty hard for me to eat. And that's when Wolf gives him all the news. He goes, Tiger's a biotic. The TTD is destroyed, and we're stuck in this timeline. Bye. And he leaves. And Josh, of course, you can hear him swearing through the muzzle, which is pretty funny. In the meantime, Tiger is still at Stu's place. She is now in the throes of depression, ordering stuff off of, I guess, QVC, like bedazzled spacesuits, things like that, and taking Zorb. Zorb is a class 4 opiate, and she is basically taking sleeves full of this stuff and just pouring it into a bowl and scooping it into her mouth. And she comes out to ask Stu if she can get some more of this. And Stu's like, that's a class 4 opiate. You only need like a dropper full of it. She goes, yeah, no, you don't. You need more than that. And she says, my life, it's in this shit sizzler. And he says, well, what if I can get you something better than Zorb? She goes, you got smack? He goes, no, even better than that. And he brings her over to this little box, has her open it up. And there's this silver wired hat thing that's in there. And he tells her it can basically solve all of her problems. And she says, you know what? What the hell are you talking about, Stu? You're starting to sound a lot like the Riddle Gnome of Bonesaw Ridge. And we killed him. And so he shows her, just put this thing on. She does. Excuse me. Immediately gets taken to this digital realm It's completely white. And he's there in a tux as well, and he's telling her that whatever she imagines can be manifested, and she's still not getting this. And so he demonstrates by imagining a red ball, and she's like, "Oh, okay, great," and she can see that she can touch Stu and all this stuff because she can't touch him in the real world. Yes, this is the Matrix parody. I'm surprised they didn't go with more Matrix references. They really didn't. They kind of skimped on that one, which I was a little bit disappointed in. Um, yeah, that drug she was eating in the bathroom was kind of nasty. And I like how she ends up, he goes, "Okay, you try it." And so she imagines a red ball, and he goes, "Okay, you made an identical red ball." He goes, "Try again, anything you want." And so she makes an orange ball. And he goes, "Okay, an orange ball." He goes, "Think bigger." And so she makes a bigger orange ball, and he goes, "No, no, like this." And he snaps his fingers, and he creates a world around them. Basically, it's a taco truck that was outside of where he worked that he liked to frequent. And of course, the place doesn't exist anymore. And they're in line for the tacos. And he says, "You can order whatever you want." And she goes, "Anything, even if it's not on the menu?" He goes, "Anything you can imagine." So she orders 2 cat tacos. And of course, he orders 2 chicken tacos. And she orders a horchata and gets the last one. Excuse me. Because Stu had mentioned the place always ran out of horchatas all the time. So yeah, she gets the last horchata, and he's trying to explain to her the difference between what's real, And she goes, "Well, I know I can't enjoy this taco because it's not real." And he goes, "Well, excuse me, what is reality?" And she goes, "It's what I can touch and what I can taste." And he's like, "No, but what is that?" "That's what your brain is, perceiving." And she's getting pissed off at this point, saying, that it's a nerd thing. And he doesn't, he can't get it across to her. So he zaps her back to the white realm where they're at, where there's nothing there. And she's like pissed off that he did it again without mentioning anything, that it was going to happen. And tells her to imagine her happiest memory. And she's like, "What? Happiest memory?" And then we see this corpse lying on the ground with a rat crawling across a pipe. And her as a little girl capturing, killing the rat, and then finding in the corpse's hands the sugar cube that she had been carrying with her. And that was the happiest moment in her life, because how could something so sweet exist in a world that was so shitty? It is the first time we've seen Tiger, kind of lamenting the world that she came from, how awful it was, things like that. I mean, we knew that it was a shitty world, but she never really kind of got on about it. But now she is to Stu, kind of mentioning all this stuff. And then he says, "Well, think about a conversation that you wish you had, with somebody." And who pops up but Estelle, which is Elias's mom. And she's screaming. She's like, "Oh, Lord, where am I? Am I dead? Is this the afterlife?" And he goes, "Can you calm her down? Just imagine her calming down." And she's like, "Oh," she's screaming. And she goes, "Oh, hi, hi, Tyann. How you doing?" And they have a conversation about, Tyann, Tiger telling Estelle that she had to kill Elias, that Elias had herpes and all this kind of stuff. And um, it's basically the talk that she wished she had with her. And I love how Estelle says, "Well, you could have killed me before I had Elias." And then Tiger's like, "Yeah, that would have been a lot easier." She goes, "Now, well, I'm going to be, that's going to bother me for a while now." So Estelle disappears, and Tiger, is sitting there thinking for a second. She disappears, and Stu's like, "Where'd you go?" She goes, "Here, I'll show you." And she takes Stu with her as well. And she ends up taking him over to the taco truck, only her version of the taco truck at this point. And she orders, of course, 2 more tacos, cat tacos. This time, don't skimp on the tail. And she asks for the blood grog served in the skull of Gignor the Rarely Gentle. I kind of want to have a drink like that, called that, blood grog, and serve it in the skull of Gignar the Rarely Gentle, because it just seems like all these different things that she's, you know, these guys could actually open up. They do it all the time at Comic-Con. They always have a restaurant that's themed off of something, and Hulu would be insane if they just didn't open up something like that, like a taco truck that serves, cat tacos, if you will, or well, not cat tacos, for example, but if they did drinks like that, like blood grog, or there's some other stuff that they've been talking about as well. So, and so she ends up breaking out into song about how life is a horrible nightmare, and she doesn't know if this is she knows this isn't real, but she doesn't care. And so her and Stu end up doing a musical dance number, which ends with him dressed up in a cat suit and her dressed up as a tortilla, and he enters her tortilla. Yeah, that's not foreshadowing anything at all. Excuse me. Oh man. And yeah, just pretty damn funny. So they end up in the real world again, and it's the afterglow of him opening up, her opening up, and he's like, well, you've finally opened up and I saw the real you. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I've never shown anybody that. And he goes, well, I want to show you something as well. And he goes, I want to show you the real me. And so he takes her down to this security room. He goes, no other human's ever been down here. And so he's got a couple of different, he takes her into this room that has, it's basically what's left of his brain. And it's just a couple of cells, really. But they're hooked up into this room. And he says when he was playing around with the augmentation of what it was, like to be in the digital world before he found the upload version. And she says, well, can I touch it? And they go through this whole thing about, I don't know. Do you want to touch it, kind of thing? And she opens up the security box, which looks strangely like a belt buckle. And she's just about to reach in. He goes, no. We better use protection. And he pops up in this little drawer, which looks like a gigantic condom, but really what it is, the glove. And he goes, I think you've got it on backwards. So that's it. Roll it down from the tip. And I love her line, which she says, I feel like this would feel better without this, but okay. And so she reaches in, and a little bit to the left is what he says as she's caressing this, cell mass. And he has some electric pulses that are coming off that are stimulating her. And she says you can increase the voltage, and they both have an orgasm, or whatever his orgasm consists of. But she does as well. And then we have the next morning, or the afterglow, if you will. And he says, you know what? He goes, I think I'm going to tell you. He says, everyone is going to Mars, but Mars stands for Mankind's Automated Reality System. And he says that's the only way. He goes, there's no way we can get everyone to Mars. There's no way I can take everyone off planet. He says, so the only way we can do it is uploading everyone's brains to a virtual reality system, and that's how the human race can be saved. And she says, well, why the whole thing about a trip to Mars? Because you have to go willingly, is what he tells her. If you don't go willingly, then it doesn't work, and people will die. And the Earth's dying anyway. There's no food left. It's getting hot, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's something that he's trying to do to save humanity, or so we think. So he asks her to come with her, to enter the Mars program, and she agrees. And that's the end of their little section. And we go back to Josh, and Josh is still working on the robot dog, and he's like, okay. He goes, if I was Josh 1, I'd be able to do this. Maybe I'm Josh 0, and he's just berating himself. And he finally puts batteries in the dog, and he goes, just give me a sign. And he looks down at the dog and sees the on button on the paw. And he goes, "Oh, you sick bastard." He talks up at the sky, of course, turns it on, and the dog turns on. And we find out that the dogs, all these dogs that Stu had given the, the down below there, is actually their security devices, their spying devices. And it automatically goes to Stu, and Stu sees Josh and goes, "What the hell is Josh doing here?" So he brings in some biotics and tells them to bring Josh to him and kill anybody that gets in the way. And that's where we leave off. So another good episode with a dance number as well, which I thought was pretty damn funny. Well, yeah, that I think that explained the room of Josh corpses as well. You have to go willingly, and they basically just scared the shit out of him. Is what they did. They didn't tell him what was going on, and yeah, and Josh, they didn't tell that he was in there. They just basically automatically put him in when he was unconscious, so he woke up and thought he was in the real world. Yeah, and well, actually, they didn't put him in fully. They just kind of did a test on him, which was kind of weird. Tiger inside a taco at the end of the dance was great. Yes. And also disturbing too, her being the tortilla and him being the cat. Oh yeah, and Stu being the evil computer thing that he is. Glubbers. Nice move for Nobi Glubbers. But so there we go. I mean, that was the end of episode 8, which has a great title, The Last Horchata. And like I said, I love the dance number, especially with the gigantic sugar cube and them spreading sugar all over the place. So really good stuff. And I think that was actually Haley Joel Osment doing the flip at one point. I was watching, and they didn't switch, they didn't cut scene or anything like that, and you actually see him do, it's almost a John Belushi cartwheel. When John Belushi was in the Blues Brothers and used to do the cartwheel. So yeah, I know this isn't real, but I don't care. Exactly. And the words to the song were actually pretty good too. They it was disturbing, but it was good at the same time. So everyone else liked the episode? What's going on here? Let me see what we got here. Stormy Scott says, another great dance number. There were so many sci-fi dance shows. Yeah, I mean, Legion alone for me, and it makes sense now after the Umbrella Academy that Steve Blackman was involved in that. And that's pretty much where I think, and since we didn't have so many dance numbers in the second season versus the first season, because he was busy working on Umbrella Academy at the time, that makes a lot more sense. I need to see more dance numbers in Legion season 3. That's all. Because honestly, they do a really damn good, that whole thing in season 1 with Aubrey, when she's doing that whole dance number, and I can't remember what it is now because I haven't seen season 1 in a while, but that was actually really, really good. And I want to see more of that. Where else do we have here? Yeah, I'm not making any cat tacos, Viking bitch. Yeah, everyone needs to really watch this show. If you guys haven't seen this show, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, everyone here has probably seen this already. Go ahead and, sign up for Hulu. There's a free 30-day trial. You can sign up for it. Watch, both seasons. Both seasons are up, season 1 and season 2. We're waiting for word on season 3. I'm hoping that is going to come up fairly soon. I'm sure it's getting good numbers. They're out there pumping it up on Twitter. So, and yes, Mufinobi, that was a brilliant with the remix of that Nina Simone song in Legion. Yes, it was. Exactly. And yes, Legion, that final season should be kick-ass. Especially now that we know that Harry Lloyd is going to be Professor X as well. So really kind of cool. So with that said, if you like what you're seeing here, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button here down below as well. Or if you didn't like what you see, hit the dislike button. Either way. Also, if you want to see when we'll be live again, hit the little bell that's down here. And the bell should give you a 50-50 chance of being notified that when I'm live again or when I'm going to be on live again. As Slurmy Scott has said, it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And you're going to see some videos up in this area too if you're still on the fence. It will take videos from my library that are tailored to your tastes from what you've been watching, and that will, give you a reasonable facsimile of what I'm doing here. And if you like that, then you can hit the subscribe button. I also have a website. It's called suspendedfanimation.com. You can see the schedule. The new schedule is up. The brand spanking new schedule is up there. And I'm also on Facebook, where the schedule is up there as well. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram as well. And you get my bells in your face. Is that what you're saying, Fanobi? Dennis is alive? Not really. I'm just a computer facsimile. That's the best I can do for a max headroom. That's what the ding dong was about? Yes, the ding dong ditch. Yes. YouTube does work sometimes, not all the time, but only sometimes. But mostly. So, with that said, take a look at the videos, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to leave you guys for the night. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up not getting the last horchata from the taco truck.